Hey, Russell Hotel's going live just for a couple minutes. You guys know what's going on. It is show number 300 of On Air with Russell of Hotels. Hope you guys are doing well. Hey, I'm live at the Gaylord Hotel, which is in, where is that? La Jolla? Not La Jolla. Excuse me. Dang it. Chula Vista is outside of San Diego. So Chula Vista is outside of San Diego. But we're not here to talk about the Gaylord, right? We're here to talk about some other stuff. But I just happen to be here. I did a site tour earlier with a old dear friend. Well, she's not old. She is a dear friend of mine, and she's like the national sales director, something extraordinaire. Where she was involved with this hotel from the ground up, from when there was nothing. It was an empty lot. So from the first shovel of dirt to where it is today, and it's just opened maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, I believe. So so I'm here. I've been here the better part of the day, and I said, you know what? I can't leave here and then try to make it home to do this show. So I said, you know what? Let me just do it here. I am here, so let me just go ahead and do it. So hopefully you guys hear me okay because I got my headset in today or my earplugs. Let me just make sure comments are open. Comments are open. So if you're I'm live on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, feel free to make comments. So at least I know that you can freaking hear me, that kind of stuff. I would appreciate it. Let's see what else is going on. I mean, there's lots going on. I've been in the area since Sunday because I was doing a fam trip. So it's all about the fam trip, right? It's all about the fam trip I did with Discover Coronado. Shari did a great job. I can't even speak. She did a great job with, you know, you know what herding cats is? When you're herding, like, sometimes meeting planners, meeting professionals, hotel site selection people can be all over the place, right? Like herding cats, right? So for her to kind of facilitate this thing and facilitate this thing and organize it and make sure people are where they need to be and following up and all that kind of stuff, man, it takes a special person. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Shari. She is with the um, Discover Coronado, which is the CVB or Convention and Visitors Bureau. They're in charge of tourism for that particular area or destination, city or destination, and which encompass like four hotels, the Glorietta Bay Inn, which is about 100 rooms, Coronado Island Marriott Resort, which is about another 300 rooms, about 44,000 square feet of meeting space. The Hotel Del. Everybody knows the Hotel Del Coronado, right? They know so much, they just call it the Hotel Del, right? But I don't want to say, now I don't know the exact number of rooms because I'm going to say something's confusing, but I'm going to say over 700 rooms. But the thing of it is, it makes up the 700 rooms is not all inside the one Hotel Dale, like we all know, right? I mean, you got they call them neighborhoods, right? So you got the Victorian, which is the main part, the historical part of the Hotel Dale, right? Then you have the cabanas, then you have the views, then you have the shore house, and then you have the beach village. All those make up the entire complex of the Hotel Del Coronado. But a lot of people don't know there's a lot of different parts to it, right? I didn't know. I mean, I remember meeting a young lady from there some years ago, and I was like, it kind of confused me because I didn't realize that they had all this other stuff that's going on, at that particular hotel. But they do, and it's great, right? So it was a great experience. The food there, we did a lunch there. The food was incredible. Can I say that? Can I say incredible? It was incredible. So, and when I say it's incredible, that means what? That means they have some non-meat eats. And for anyone that knows me, they know I'm a vegan. They know I don't eat meat. And it's all about those vegan meats, those vegan eats. So, okay. So they had a good selection. I never had celery root. Who has had it was baked celery root. So it's a big ball for the most part. And what they did, they baked it in salt. Okay, like salt, like crusted salt, like the salt would crust to take the moisture out of the actual celery root, right? And then they would Once they would crack it open, get rid of the salt, and then bring out the root itself, right? And they would shave the skin off the root, and then which you would get to the, let's say, the meat of the celery root, right? And they would slice it, and then they would put some type of I won't say gravy, some type of dressing, some type of sauce on it, right? Which was vegan as well. And man, when I say it was unexpected, the flavor was unexpected. The whole thing was unexpected because I never even heard of celery root. Who's eating celery root, right? But it's a good option. It's a good alternative for meat. And man, I must have ate so much of that. It was crazy. I thought it was chicken at first, right? So I shied away from it. I didn't read the sign. I just saw it. And I said, you know what? This is not for me. This is chicken, right? No, it wasn't chicken. It was celery root. And it was just incredible. So when I mention that, hotels being creative, or they have a creative food and beverage team, or a chef who's creative, that, we're going to make some stuff happen, right? That's what I'm talking about, because it just wasn't an afterthought. You can't just put some salt on something. No one's thinking about that. Okay, um, no one's thinking about baking a celery root in salt. Okay, that's just not something that you're thinking about, right? So for them to be that creative, and for the flavor of this thing to be that intense, is ridiculous. So shout out to the chef of the Hotel del Coronado, and of course we ate in the area which is on the beach. I have photos of this, and I'll show at a later time, but it was ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. So shout out to them for that. Shout out to the chef specifically for that great culinary experience, if you will. Okay, so this is show number 300, right? So, do I have an agenda, so to speak? No, I'm just giving some shout outs where shout outs need to be made. If anybody wants to make comments, feel free to make comments. Anybody wants to come on, I sent a link to a couple of people. If they want to come on and say some things, that's fine. They can do that. I'm opening it up for that. But I'm just, like I said, I'm just hoping that I am transmitting out to everybody. Like I said, I'm away from my home studio. I am on the road. I am in Chula Vista, California, which is right outside of San Diego. But yeah, so yesterday, okay, so from Sunday to today, I was doing a fam trip. Now everybody knows a fam trip is a is a way to get familiar with a destination, and within that destination, you become familiar with the different parts of that destination. If that's hotels, if that's like transportation, if that's um, a DMC, destination management company, that handles, like, say, transportation or hard to get tickets or different things of your event, right? It's a way to get introduced to those things, especially if you're not familiar with the destination. So I wasn't that familiar with Coronado, and so it was a good time for me to come and take advantage of that, and find out a little more about what Coronado has to offer. Because for me, I'll be honest, only thing I knew about Coronado for the most part was the Hotel Del, because I had been there before. I had never been to the Lowe's. Okay, so when the opportunity came up, I said, you know what? I have time. I'm gonna do it. So I'm glad I did, because I got introduced to the Glorietta Bay Inn, which I mentioned a little while ago. Of course, the Coronado Island Marriott Resort, which I had never been to as well. They did a great job. They did a breakfast yesterday morning, which was great. So got a chance to see their hotel and their rooms, and their area of Coronado, right, which is different than where the Lowe's is. And then, of course, we stayed at the Lowe's, right? We actually stayed at the Lowe's Coronado for from Sunday and Monday night. And as if everything wasn't great already, they took us to a baseball game last night. The Dodgers and Padres, okay, and not just you know when it comes to, like, sporting events, especially when it comes to baseball, because I'm not a true diehard baseball fan like a lot of people are. I mean, there's some rabid ass baseball fans out there. I'm not that, right? Now, if it was football, now that's something else. But I'm not a true baseball fan. But I will go and enjoy myself and indulge myself, right? Well, This is the perfect time to do that because it was in a suite, right? So that's the only time I'm going to a baseball game. Just so you know, FYI, if you invite me to a baseball game, it needs to be in a suite. Okay, sorry, it needs to be in a suite, and it needs to be food there and beverages. Okay, so it's got to be food and beverage for me to go. But no, it was great. It was a great way to end the 2 days at the fam trip. So yeah, so we had transportation. We had transportation everywhere, right? So you never had to wait for anything. I mean, we had VIP all the way, everything from tours of hotels to lunches to breakfast to the baseball game. It was phenomenal. So, like I said, shout out to Shari with Visit Coronado. I appreciate you because I can only imagine how it is trying to herd all these and organize this thing from kind of start with, before from a thought to actually putting it into fruition, right? So it has to be something. I've never done that before, so I can only imagine what it is. So there's a lot of work involved. I definitely know that there's a lot of work involved in that. So there you go. So thank you so much. I appreciate me being invited. And it's great, what I learned yesterday? Pickleball. I never played pickleball before. And they had um, one of the activities was learning how to do pickleball because I want to say this is at the Marriott, Coronado Island Marriott Resort. Okay. So they have about, I want to say eight pickleball courts. I want to say at least eight. So we were able to experience that. I had never played pickleball before, and it was a kind of a good experience. Only thing I didn't like is that I was not dressed for it. I wasn't going to go out there and get my sweat on or get my workout on, which I was there to do site tours. I was not there to do pickleball, but I did jump in and learn for about I'll say about 30 minutes. I did it until you know my brow started to sweating. I'm like, you know what? Okay, that's enough. I didn't come here to be sweaty. So I sat down, but I got enough out of it to understand how to play, what the rules are, how to keep score, and see that it is a fun sport, right? I can see why there's a craze about pickleball. So, and you don't have to be as athletic, but of course, I'm taking it to the nth degree, right? So if I'm gonna play, I'm gonna go all out, right? So I'm trying to score and win, right? So shout out to Molly who kind of talked me into doing it, and then when she talks me into doing it, now I become competitive, right? She goes, "How did you get 10 points already?" I said, "Because we keep scoring. Because I keep scoring. What do you mean? How did I get 10 points?" So yeah, so it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So thank you, Molly, for um, you know making me do it. Okay, that's what she did. She held a gun to my head and said, "You're gonna play this pickleball and you're gonna enjoy it." Well, she did, and she was right, and I did enjoy it. So you just never know on these fam trips what you're gonna be introduced to or what you're gonna be required to do. But I definitely had a lot of fun. So can't beat that. So as you can see, there's people walking by me, and that's a good thing, right? You probably can hear some of the things that are going on. It's a huge hotel that I'm in. Like I said, but I'm not here to talk about that at this point. I will talk about it another time, but definitely got the full dog and pony show here. Was able to see a lot of things here at this particular hotel. If anyone knows the Gaylord brand, now Gaylord is a Marriott brand, so anyone that knows that knows the vastness of a Gaylord, how big it is, and maybe kind of what it entails, what's in it, what's around it, what type of people, what groups that it's kind of they kind of cater after, but definitely something to see, something to experience. Like I said, it's only been open for a short while, and as a soft opening, soft opening meaning they're just introducing it to the area. They're not opening everything up like all the outlets. I mean, there must be, I don't know, 10 restaurants that are going to be in here. All of them are not open yet because they're not ready for that, right? So what a lot of hotels do, they do, it's called a soft opening, where they're not opening every single service, every single outlet. open yet, and they may not be opening every room, right? So they open it up with 200 rooms. It's 1,600 rooms. Okay, did you hear what I said? There's 1,600 rooms. They did it like in 200 room increments. So I think now they may have, they don't even have half of the house open. Half of the hotel is not even open, right? So, but they're just making sure, and that's for, it's two reasons, right? They want to make sure everything's working, everything's in working condition. They want to make sure their staff is acclimated to the system, acclimated to, kind of spoon fed when guests arrive and things like that. Because you don't want 2,000 guests. Like, this is my first experience working at a hotel, and all of a sudden, boom, 2,000 people checking in. No, that's not how they did it. So a soft opening is basically just introducing, maybe 200 rooms at one time. So you turn a 1,600 room hotel into a 200 room hotel, right? So you kind of give people that limited exposure so they get used to it before you open it to the masses, right? Because at some point, probably at the end of the summer, it will be open to the masses, maybe even before that, right? When everything is up and running, and then they've figured out their schedules and how they're going to operate these restaurants and the hours and things like that. So it just takes some time to do that. So I can only imagine if it's, like I said, if it's 1,600 rooms and about 10 outlets and 5 pools and all this meeting space, which meeting space I want to say is a little bit less than 500,000 square feet. Half a million, less than half a million square feet. Isn't that crazy? So that's what's going on here. So I just want to tell you a little bit about that. Other than that, but let's move on. Let's see. I don't have a topic for today. I don't see anybody coming on. That's fine. It's, like I said, who would have thought that I would get to the point where I'm at 300 episodes of On Air with Russell of Hotels? That's the thing. If there's a topic at all, that's the thing I want to talk about, right? So just a little history. I started this in 2019, January 27th of 2019. And the reason I started it was I wanted to be able to talk about my experiences in the hotel industry, right? And then invite people on or whatever, because for people that don't know, I mean, I have 25 years of hotel experience, right? 14 different hotels. Started off as a housekeeping manager years ago with Marriott, worked my way up through front office, food and beverage, um, eventually got into sales. Was an assistant general manager before that. Got into sales, and then became a director of sales and marketing. Became a general manager. Then went back to being director of sales and marketing, because sales and marketing was the thing that was what I really wanted to do. I never had any aspirations of being a general manager. It's just one of those things that happen, because sometimes you start doing a good job and they're like, oh, well, Russell can do this, or, well, this other person is leaving, so, and we need a general manager. Well, Russell's there, he can do it, right? And that's how it was, presented to me. And that's when I learned that, no, money ain't everything, right? Because, of course, with being a GM comes more money, but more money comes with, what comes with more money? More problems, more issues, more things you got to deal with, more responsibility for the most part. And like I said, not that was never a goal of mine to be a general manager, but I did it and I survived it. And I said, you know what? That's fine. That's good for other people, but that for me, that's not what I want to do. I went back to being a director of sales and marketing. So, so this show, or On Air with Russell of Hotels, including the daily check-in, which I do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, is all about sharing my experiences within the hospitality space. And now that I'm on the other side as a meeting professional, hotel site selection owner, I'm able to bring that into the equation as well, right? So I'm able to talk both sides of it, meetings and the hotel people. What do people that are doing meetings, what do they go through? What do people that are working in hotels, what do they go through? And how do you meet somewhere in the middle? Well, a lot of times you don't meet in the middle, but you share your experiences and you try to deal with situations the best you can. But like I said, I always have those two perspectives. So if I'm like, talking about meeting professionals and how they are, I'm always going to give the flip side, right? Well, in the hotel side, this is what's going on, right? So that way you get a comparison of what each party goes through, right? Because it's not about, I'm never going to be 100% like, oh, well, the hotel did this, they did that. Well, what did the planner do? Or what did the group do? Or what did the guests do? You know what I mean? Or what happened? Where's the breakdown or whatever it is, right? Whatever the example is, or whatever the situation is. But there's probably not a situation that has happened in a hotel that I have never experienced before, right? So, like I said, I come with that experience. I come with that. And I was leaving 2018, and I said, I don't want to leave 2018 doing the same things I was doing going into 2019. And just so happened, I was a guest on Craig Sullivan's show, which is called Check Out California. I was a guest on his show. And as I was leaving that, I was like, you know what? I could do something like this. And that's when I started. Like the next probably, I don't know, uh, next 6 months, I did my research. I like, what's the best way to do this? I did it through LA Talk Radio, which was an internet station. Um, and this was before Facebook Live, right? It was a straight up podcast where it was only audio only. It was not visual like this. And then came this thing called Facebook Live, which was one of the first things that you could broadcast to a wide audience, right? So we started doing Facebook Live at LA Talk Radio, and that's when it really took off, because once you add the video portion of it, now people can see, not just hear you. Well, that was kind of a game changer, right? And there was more excitement behind being able to see somebody, right? So then I got guests on. Then I started adding guests. So I did 90 episodes with LA Talk Radio. 90, 90, before I went on my own and started my own, got made up my own little mini studio at my house, right? And that's when I started buying things, bought a new laptop, bought this Rodecaster system and all that stuff. And that's when I knew, when I started buying these things, I said, this thing's serious, right? Now I'm serious, right? It's a serious thing. So so that's how I started it. And like I said, started getting guests on, and from different walks of life, not just all hotel people. I got, you get hotel people, you get meeting planners, but even within the hotel space, I was saying general managers, VPs of operations, VP of sales, um, people from management companies, people from corporate organizations, um, influencers, social media travel influencers. Kat Von D, I got her on here, and Sarah Dandishi has been on here as well. Um, Doug Caldwell with now he was with, what was Doug with then? He was with in Reno at one time, but now he represents the Atlantis and the Bahamas. He's been on the show, right? So all these people have been on the show. Salespeople, food and beverage people, all these people that make up hotels and CVBs, right, have been on the show and come to share their story, right? It's all about their brand. It's all about the visibility. I've been on this thing the last several weeks about visibility, how visibility can change things, right? Visibility can put you on the map, right? People can know your brand. People will know you. I mean, despite me doing all these things, everyone still doesn't know me, right? So that's why I continuously do these things, because the more people that know me, the better for the brand. It's the same thing for hotels. I always say this. Contrary to popular belief, everyone does not know your hotel exists. I mean, I'm at this brand new 1,600 room, probably multi-billion-dollar project here in Chula Vista. How many people out there knew it even existed? How many people knew that it opened, right? So it's all about visibility. It's all about putting yourself out there so you can elevate your brand, right? I mean, I put myself out here, Russell Edmond, so I can elevate Russell of Hotels. Boom. Yes, it's one and the same, right? That's what you would think, right? But some people don't think about it like that. So if I just met with my friend Joy Florentino, right? Shout out to Joy Florentino. She was involved in this project from when, before they put a shovel in the ground, to do that, how they do the groundbreaking ceremony and all that stuff. Um, so she was, this was like back in 22, I believe, 2022. Yeah. So she was involved in it probably before that, right? But I was following her because she would post things on social media, and I was following her, and next thing you know, the place is open, right? And then I happened to be here, and then just so happened she invited me over, and it was timing's everything, right? So I was able to come over here and check it out because I was already here. So, but going back to what I'm saying, we think that everybody knows our hotels exist. Well, they don't, and we have to be more visible. I mean, I've been in the last couple of days in Coronado. I don't know Coronado. I didn't know Coronado because I hadn't seen a lot about it, right? I wasn't real familiar with the Glorieta Bay Inn, or I knew that there was a Marriott resort on Coronado Island, but I never been there before. I knew of the Hotel Del, right? But I did not know that they break things into, they call them neighborhoods, right? I didn't know about the Victorian, that they separated from the cabana, the views, the shore house or the beach village. I didn't know any of that stuff. So when I got the opportunity to come and check it out, well then okay, now I understand it. Now I can talk intelligently about it. Now I can come on my show and talk about these things because I've experienced them now, right? But they weren't as visible as they probably should be. Okay, let's just say that. They're not as visible as they should be. And sometimes we have to, especially if we're in a sales position, but general managers need to heed this as well, right? If you see that maybe, you know, things have fallen off a little, meaning, the amount of leads is not like it used to be. Well, how do you start that? I mean, either you're going to put more people out in the field so they can physically go from coast to coast, east to west, and try to build it that way, or you can start with a presence, on social media. You can make sure you are visible. You can make sure people see you. They see you and your brand, right? And the brand starts with you. Well, a lot of times people don't realize that the brand is them, right? I mean, I'm gonna buy Atlantis because Doug Caldwell is there. I'm not basically buying Atlantis because of this in the Bahamas. No, Doug Caldwell, I know him. He's the one that's, promoting that property to me. So I'm gonna buy now that I'm gonna buy him, and then I'm gonna go check out the property, right? Because I know him. Okay, I knew him when he was at was a Grand Sierra Resort in Reno. Okay, he represented that property. I knew him back then, right? So now he's with Atlanta. He's been at Atlanta. This has been a while, right? He's been in Atlanta for a while. So I know him. So I'm gonna follow him wherever he goes. If I need to go to Atlantis or the Bahamas, guess the first hotel that comes to mind? Boom, it's Atlantis. Hello. Okay, because of him. So, and one thing salespeople need to be, they need to be synonymous with their brand, right? So, like I said, I know Atlantis because of Doug. And when I think of Atlantis, I think about Doug. When I think about Doug, I know he represents Atlantis, and that's what you want. You want someone, or you want to be synonymous, and this is something that salespeople need to work on more. They need to be synonymous with their brand. That's just it. I mean, you think of me. Hopefully, you think of me like, oh, Russell of Hotels. He does hotel site selection, and he does brand visibility or brand awareness. He creates that, on his show. He makes sure people know about these particular hotels. He showcases hotels all the time, right? So those are things that we should do as salespeople in this space. Now, salespeople outside of the space, they can do the same things, right? But I'm only talking about hotel and hospitality because that's where I come from, right? That's where I live. I live in hospitality, right? I don't know where everybody else lives in, but that's where I live, right? So when it comes to CVBs, DMOs, DMCs, transportation companies, hotels, whatever, anything within the hospitality space, that's what I'm all about, right? And those are the brands that I want to create visibility for because it elevates the industry 100%. So there you go. That's what it's all about, right? Did I go on a rant right there? I think I did. Woo, man. I'm on one today, people. I'm on one today. I'm on one today. So anyway, so the blog. So anytime I have a topic, well, there's no topic today, so there's not going to be anything that I put on the blog today regarding this particular show, other than this is show number 300, and you should already know, right? If you don't know, if you didn't go, you don't know. Or if you don't know, you don't. I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say. But anyway, I don't even know why. Anyway, I'm talking about the blog, right? Am I talking about the blog? Anyway, the blog. So, oh, I was gonna say I didn't have a topic, but any past topic that I have talked about, you can go to russellofhotels.com. Just go to the blog section. All that stuff is there. So anything that I talked about in the way of topics is are on or is on my blog. Okay, so how do you access the blog? Just go to russellofhotels.com, and that's where the blog is. Okay, so that's all you got to do. Check it out. Let me know if you have any questions about it. I'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. So this is not going to last that long, you know, but I always want to mention this consistency. Consistency, 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 consistency. You see all this stuff, right? You see all the consistencies, right? There is no way that you can do 300, anybody can do 300 episodes of anything, right? Um, Without being consistent. You can't do 300 push ups. You can't do anything. You can't play 300 football games. You can't make 300 uh, free throws. You can't do anything like that without consistency. You got to be consistent in what you do, right? So I cannot do 300 shows without being consistent. I consistently did these things from January 27th, 2019. One thing that I did do, I took about a month off back in 2019. I took a month off and kind of, I was traveling, right? And I was kind of on the fence, like, do I continue this or not? I think I was going to continue it anyway. It's just that I needed time to do some other stuff, right? So, and I wasn't 100% all in. You know how people are like, you need to be all in, right? And I wasn't 100% all in. So I took some time off, but after that, I've been going for it, right? So after that, I was consistent and I'm still consistent because if people want to work with you, if people, they have brands, right, and they want to work with my brand, Russell of Hotels, because they know it's all about the visibility, right? They know I'm consistent. I can't say that I'm consistent if I'm not, right? So how do they know I'm consistent? They can go to my LinkedIn page. They can go to LinkedIn. They can go to YouTube, and they can see that, oh, Russell, yeah, he's consistent. He does this every single week. He does things like 5 days a week, sometimes. So it's all about consistency. So there's no way I could ever get to 300 episodes without being consistent. So just make sure that we are consistent in what we do. Brand visibility is a thing. Brand awareness is a thing. Creating brand awareness creates brand excitement, right? And at the end of that, at the end of the excitement, yeah, it creates an opportunity for hotels to make money, right? Because the more people see you, the more it's top of mind, the more likely someone's going to utilize your hotel services. They're either going to stay in your hotel, maybe they're going to have a meeting there, maybe they're just going there for lunch. But that's all creating revenue, right? That's all creating revenue for your hotel. I'm just looking around here in this hotel that I'm happen to be in, the Gaylord, right? And everyone's not staying here, but they have so many restaurants, and it's the shiny new dime in town, right? It's a shiny new dime. There's a lot of, there's this big screen monitor or whatever in the middle of the lobby, and they're showing, like, it's all about the Pacific Ocean, right? It's all about California, all about being on the coast. I'm seeing, like, they got gray whales, they have sea lions, all on this thing that's playing right now. So I'm watching this, right? So it's all kind of soothing and interesting and relaxing. Then you go out, and then there's pools. And what I heard is that to take advantage of the community, not take advantage, but offer services to the community of Chula Vista, they will allow people, but they limit the people to come in, like have a day pass to use the pool, because they know they're going to talk about it, meaning that's the best form of advertising, right? They're going to come in, they're going to talk about it throughout the community, but they limit it to how many people can come in, right? They limit it to like I don't know, 100 people a day or something. I'm just using that as an example. Okay, I'm not really sure, but I know that's what they do, right? They got like 5 pools. They got a lazy river. They got a wave pool. They got all this stuff. They got slides out there. It's crazy, right? So for kids, for families in the summer, are you kidding me? So you don't necessarily have to be a guest here to enjoy the pool. You can come in here for lunch. Come in for lunch. I'm sitting in front of a sushi restaurant. They have sushi restaurant. They have a what do you call it? A sports bar that has the largest. It must be the largest TV in freaking California. I don't know. It's crazy. It's like 2 stories tall. It's crazy, right? So there's a lot of things here that are just people are just going to come and want to see and experience and be in awe of. It's just how it is, right? But it's all about the visibility, right? It all starts with visibility. It all starts with, brand awareness, letting people know that you're here, that you exist. So make sure people know you exist. And it goes back to what I'm saying about me. There's no way I can exist. There's no way I can be consistent. There's no way no one would know me if I'm not being consistent, right? So, anything about Russell of Hotels, if you're um, me creating or helping you with your brand awareness, you're gonna look if you're looking for anybody, any organization, any company that can help with brand awareness, you're gonna look for somebody that's been consistent. Okay. And if you're not looking and if you're not finding someone, like say you're on LinkedIn or whatever, just look for the people that are consistent. That's all you gotta do. Look for the people that are consistent. Those are people that are gonna show up for you. Okay. And they're gonna do what they say they're gonna do. Because if they're not consistent, that's going to tarnish their brand, right? So always make sure, and for me, it's easy to vet these kind of people out, right? Or these companies, these organizations. Which companies are consistent? Which ones do you follow and you see that, oh my God, they post things all the time? Well, that's consistency, right? So why not let them bring you along the way, bring your brand along the way, because their brand's already there, right? Why not allow them to bring you along the way too? That's what I'm saying. So, so 300 represents the number 300 represents consistency. I'm always going to be consistent. I'm always going to show up, not just for me and my brand, because at the first and foremost, I got to be happy with what I'm doing, right? I have to be happy with me, right? Before I can even expose myself to clients, I had to be happy with what I'm doing, right? So I'm at that point where I am. So I'm able to, like I said, bring other people along the way with me, right? So um, every time I do a show like this, I'm showcasing hotels. Um, Today I'm not displaying those hotels, but I'm talking about them. I'm talking about the Glorietta Bay Inn, 100 rooms in Coronado. I'm talking about the Coronado Island Marriott Resort, 300 rooms in Coronado Island. I'm talking about the Hotel Del Coronado, which is made up of the Victorian, the Cabanas, the Views, Shore House, and Beach Village, all located on Coronado Island, right? I'm talking about the Discover Coronado, which is the CVB or Convention and Visitors Bureau of that or that area, right? So any questions at all, of course, you got groups. They're the ones to talk about, right? They're the ones to contact or to reach out. So just, reach out to Shari, okay? Our girl Shari. So just say, call that or get that information, get their phone number of the Discover Coronado, and just say, hey, let me talk to Shari. Sherry, I'm sorry. I keep saying Shari. Sherry. I don't know. It's spelled differently. It's spelled Shari. And for whatever reason, I keep saying Shari. Her name is Sherry. So just reach out to Sherry. Sherry with Discover Coronado, okay? And tell her Russell sent you, okay? So once again, it's all about the brand awareness. It's all about brand visibility. It's about having people talk about your brand. It's about doing enough where people will want to talk about your brand. They're comfortable enough to talk about it, right? And I'm very comfortable enough to talk about Discover Coronado and Sherry. Sherry, 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 baby, Sherry. I don't know where that came from, but how you doing? Yeah. So yeah, it's always good to have guests, come by and you just say hello just to see what they're gonna do, right? If they wanted to come on, I would say, hey, come on, pull up a chair. Well, let's do this. Let's do this thing. Why are you here? Who are you? What? Are you here for the restaurant? Are you a guest here? That's a good way, just to walk around and just kind of people watch and ask questions, right? Do we do that in our hotels? When we walk up and say, hey, what brings you to the hotel today? Well, I'm a guest here. Oh, okay, well, how's your experience? Have you experienced our new restaurant? I mean, those are things that we can do. And I don't know if people are doing that here, but this is a huge footprint, right? I would pay somebody just to walk around in this lobby and just engage with the guests, right? Um, are they guests? Meaning, do they stay in the hotel? Or are they just here for a restaurant? What's their favorite restaurant? What kind of food do they like? I mean, you know, what did you eat? How was it? How was that experience? Hey, did you happen to check out you in the sports? Did you happen to check out our sports bar over there? I mean, did you bring your kids? We have this pool with a lazy river and we got dive-in movies. Oh, they got a screen out there in front of in the wave pool where you can go and, there's waves going on and there's movies being played. I'm like, this is crazy. This is cool, right? So I would have somebody in this lobby just, 2 shifts a day, 16 hours a day, talking to guests, and that way they can actually show them where they're going. Maybe they're there for a meeting and they're like, well, the meeting space is all this, everything starts on the first floor, right? So the meeting space, it looks like a huge footprint, but the meeting space is not far from where the lobby is. So it's not like you got to go to a different floor and all this kind of stuff. So it's really different. So even for smaller hotels, just say like the Coronado Island Marriott or the Hotel Dell, why not have somebody there in the lobby that's just dedicated to, guest service or guest information or whatever? You just have somebody there just to ask questions and let them know of the services, and maybe they have questions about the hotel. Maybe know a little bit about what's going on in the area, or a little bit about the history of the hotel. I mean, those are things that you think it's a small thing, but you quickly know that it's something big because people will gravitate towards you. So it's all about information. It's all about that. Once again, goes back to visibility, right? So you have a captive audience here, right? Why not have somebody just kind of milling around talking to guests? I think because that's what separates one hotel from another. It's the feeling that they get. It's hospitality, right? That's more hospitality than just letting people find their own way around. But if you have a guest here, I mean, a representative that's just talking to guests as they walk by. Some guests are not going to want to talk. They're not going to even want to engage, and that's okay because it's not going to reach everybody, right? But I think you're going to reach more people than you would think. But we got to start somewhere. So there you go. That is it. I didn't even really mean to go that long, but I'm like, whew, man, I'm like 30, like 45 minutes into this thing, right? So anyway, that is it. I just wanted to come on and do that, but I want to thank everybody for, supporting this for the last 300 episodes. It's been a ride. Like I said, I appreciate everybody that has supported me. Everybody that was there. I mean, starting with my parents, although they are no longer with me. Um, they knew what I was doing and they supported it 100%. So I appreciate them because, I remember my dad was asking me questions, episode number one, you know what I mean? Like, how do you do this? How do you do that? So, I mean, it's been a great ride. Um, but yeah, so it starts off with the support of your family, right? So I appreciate them. I appreciate my family for supporting this journey, and everybody else that's on board, all the hotel people that I work with, all my colleagues, all that stuff, right? People that I knew, people that I didn't know, right? So appreciate it. And I was just doing this fam, like I said, for Discover. Excuse me. Right, I'm choked up. I'm getting choked up. I was doing this um, fam trip, of course, for at or with Discover Coronado, and some people knew that I did this show, right? They did a show. I did a show, and they're like, and some people ask me questions about, why I did it and who do you have on, and some people didn't know I actually had guests on. I was like, oh yeah, I have guests on. You come on and talk about you, and because that's what it's all about. It's all about exposing your brand, creating visibility and creating that brand awareness. That's what it's all about, right? So yeah, so people that I know, people that I don't know. It's fine. If you're interested, just let me know. Let me know. Let me know. And then we can get you on here. But yeah, so I'm seeing all these people walk by. They're stopping at there's a sushi place that's not open yet, right? So people walking by, they're looking in, they're trying to get in the door. Is it open? All that time. There's not a lot of signage, but if they just say, like I said, just had one designated person just kind of roaming around, it'd make things a lot easier for the guests, right? Guests or potential guests, right? If they're in your establishment, that's a captive audience, right? They're here. They made it here. We don't know how they got here. We don't know why they're here, but they are here. So that's a captive audience. I mean, if they don't go to the sushi restaurant, there's several other restaurants that are open. You can, you know, okay, this is not open, but let me escort you over to the sports bar or whatever. So that's what it's all about. So anyway, that is it. Thank you so much. Any questions at all? Go to my website, russellofhotels.com. I mean, all the information is there. But any questions you want to ask directly, you can email me, russell@russellofhotels.com. My phone number is on my website, so you can do that as well. You can instant message me on LinkedIn. However you want to do it, you can just do it, right? Because I'm all about doing it. So anyway, that is it. Once again, thank you guys so much for supporting me through these 300 episodes. But guess what? I ain't stopping. Okay, I'm just, it's a milestone. Okay, yeah, thumbs up. Pat me on the back. Okay, whatever. But guess what? I got show 301 to think about. Okay, because that's where my mindset is. Okay, my mindset is doing show 301 and beyond. Okay, so yeah, 300 is a big deal, but okay, I got to drive back to LA now. So that's what I'm thinking about. Okay. So anyway, you guys take care. And as always,